Hey everybody, David here, and today I'm going to be talking about Arrow, Season 5, Episode 8, or 100, depending on how you're looking at it. Invasion. So this is Arrow's continuation of what started supposedly in Supergirl, but really started in The Flash last night, and continues that storyline. And just like I felt like last night was a little bit more about Barry, this one was definitely more about Team Arrow, more about Oliver than the rest. But I felt that Sarah, Diggle, Thea, and even Ray got a good amount of screen time and character moments as Oliver did. This was really a nice throwback to Arrow season, all the seasons, I guess, right? This is the 100th episode, so it was definitely a challenge, and I was very curious on how they were going to handle this, on how, with the crossover and the 100th episode both being in one thing, and they definitely dedicated it more to Arrow than to the crossover itself, because yeah, obviously some of the other legends that were never in Arrow and Supergirl and Flash kind of took a little bit of a backseat. They were still in this episode, but they didn't really get too much to do in this episode, which I thought at least Supergirl was going to have a bigger impact in this episode than Barry, just because she is the newbie to the CW, and I thought they would have played with her a little bit more in this episode. But for all it's worth, I really love the references, Easter eggs, and cameos from a lot of the different characters in this episode. I thought it was really well done. There were some really great character moments. Specifically, two favorite ones for me would have to be that scene with Thea and Oliver when Oliver's trying to convince Thea, we gotta get out of here. We got real lives out there, people that need us. And Thea's like almost in tears. She doesn't want to go because it's like, don't we deserve something for once instead of all this drama? People we lost are here, and I almost got teary eyed, man. It was a great written scene, really well acted. Between both actors, Stephen Amell and Willa Holland. And then there was the other scene later, after the big brawl, which I'll get into maybe right after this, between Oliver and Laurel. He had to say his final goodbye to Laurel Lance, and people don't always get that second chance at saying goodbye to someone they love. And this was a really great episode, man. A great goodbye to everybody. Even Robert and Maura Queen got one last, when Oliver gave them a hug and was like, he knew they weren't real, but he had to say goodbye to them before he left and before he could really let them go. So yeah, I really liked all those callbacks to the original. We even got to see like Ray and fake Felicity going out, apparently they were fiancés or something. That was a nice little reference to when they were hooked up back in season 3. One thing that I was kind of hoping for was I felt Manu Bennett should have been in this episode, because Deathstroke did make an appearance, but he didn't talk. He grunted a little bit. And it was clearly not done by Manu Bennett. I don't know why it would have been hard to get him to at least return for a crossover. You could have still kept his mask on, but just like let him do the voice at least, Like they could have at least done that, have him do a voiceover. But it was really cool at the end there, the final fight. Just like last night's episode, the final fight was great. The final fight here, again, was really well done. We got Oliver going up against Slade. We got Thea going up against Malcolm. We got Sarah going up against Damien Dark. Clearly the nemesis of each of those individual characters. And then obviously Ray and Diggle are taking care of the goons, because they don't really have any nemesis. Which brings me to the fact that I felt Ra's al Ghul should have been in that final fight. Like, they had Damien Darhk, they had Malcolm Merlyn, they had Deathstroke. Ra's al Ghul should have been there. He was an enemy of season 3, man. So you had the villain of season 1, you had the villain of season 2, you had the villain of season 4. Where is 3? And Ra's al Ghul is, a main threat. He showed up in Legends of Tomorrow last year. He should have been brought back. Maybe the actor was busy. I don't know. But that was the only part, one of the little gripes throughout this episode. That and Manu Bennett not returning to at least voice Deathstroke. But other than that, I thought it was really well done and handled how each individual character had to fight their villain counterpart, I guess, their nemesis. Also, I really thought Flash and Supergirl working with Wild Dog and the rest of Team Arrow, that was really nice, and seeing Cisco's interaction with him as well. I thought Cisco would and Curtis would have been like more bros. Instead, Cisco kind of brushed Curtis off a little bit there, I thought. Especially when he was making movie references, I thought Cisco would have been like, yeah, man, you are my man. Because, like, Cisco, you do movie references too. But he looks like he was getting a little annoyed with it. I don't know. Maybe that was me looking too much into that, but that's how I felt. And, so with that being said, I mean, there's not much else I can really add. There was nothing I hated. I really loved before Oliver got out of there, he looked back and saw all the people who were not part of the show anymore, all the people who died that he loved, except Roy. Roy didn't die, but he was still there anyways. There was that standing with everybody else, and Tommy was there too. Tommy was also briefly mentioned. It's still my theory that Tommy will be Prometheus. We're going to find out. Apparently, next week's episode, the mid-season finale for Arrow, will be dealing with the Flashpoint consequences. And I think one of those consequences will have to do with Tommy Merlyn as Prometheus. Somehow, Flashpoint also brought Tommy Merlyn back to life. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that will all play out. With that being said, guys, I'm going to end it here. Tell me your thoughts on this episode of Arrow. I think it was a really good one, man. And it definitely set up something there at the end, giving us an idea that something big is coming for the final battle, which will be in Legends of Tomorrow. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm hoping for more interaction with Supergirl and Green Arrow, because I felt we didn't get any of that in this episode, man. This was a whole episode dedicated to Arrow and why we love it. It definitely was a love letter to the series. So, bravo. It did its job well, and it set up something interesting for the next episode to handle. So, can't wait for tomorrow. It's the final part. I can't believe we're already like 3 episodes down and 1 more to go. It's going to be Thursday already. I can't believe this. So, I guess that's it. Comment below. Tell me your thoughts on the episode. Like this video. Subscribe to me if you haven't already, especially if you love The Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl. Once in a while, I do some Supergirl reviews, and I'll definitely do a full season review once that's done. And until next time, guys, take care.